Hello guys, welcome back to the Beastie Room. Now we're going to have a rehouse today of a New World species. Now, as you know, much of my collection is actually Old World. I do like the Old World stuff. That's not to say that we don't like the New Worlds. This is something we are going to address. We're going to try and do a few more of the New World spiders. And we're going to definitely try and make a little bit of an effort to cover some of the brackies as well, because we've done little bits and pieces in the past with them. Hopefully now, with a new room coming on, we'll have a bit more space, and it'd be nice to actually showcase a few. We've not really had the opportunity to show them off to their full glory, if you like. So that's something we'd like to have a crack at in the future. Now, what we're going to do today is we are going to cover a New World terrestrial spider, and that is the Phormictopus auratus, the Cuban bronze. And as the name suggests, these guys are endemic to Cuba. They are quite a large spider as well, and they're a funny mix of a spider, to be fair, in terms of their temperament. We've had some that are relatively easygoing, and others that are absolutely hell-bent on not interacting in any way, shape or form. They just want to be left alone. So we have a female here, and we have a number of males on the shelf of similar sort of ages. And these are ones that we have been growing on for some time. I don't think we've shown them before. So we are going to rehouse this female into her home. She's not quite big enough to breed yet, but she won't be far off. We've got a little bit of growing to do, but figured it would be worth getting her into an enclosure now. Now this stuff here is stuff that I've only just recently mixed up.
Sorry about the noise.
Yeah, sorry about the noise. Yeah, it's only recently been mixed up, so we'll have to play around with it a little bit. Now what we do, as you can see, if you look into this enclosure now, you'll see there's big lumps of cocoa fibre. So how I do this is a good little tip actually, is as you know, we get bags of potting compost. Now these bags of potting compost generally are quite they're full of moisture, so in a lot of terms they can actually be a little bit too wet to use straight away. So what I do, I mix in the cocoa fibre, which is something we've been using more and more of just recently, and I find that having it blended in with our potting compost, it actually makes quite a nice light substrate, and I'm really becoming quite a fan of it. Now, one of the things that we get pestered with is what brand of potting compost are you using? Now this isn't very helpful if you're abroad, because the chances are you won't have what we have here. So all I do is I go for the cheap stuff. You don't need anything expensive. I just pick up the cheap stuff, and what I do is I go for the stuff that's quite fine. I don't like the heavy coarse stuff, so I prefer the finer stuff. Now it's easy to find out. Just make a little hole with your finger in the bag and pull a little bit out and see what it looks like, you know. And then if it's the fine stuff, go for it. And then what we do then is we use the cocoa fibre to add another compound to it. Now when you use cocoa fibre, as most of you know, it comes in an absolute dry state, so you have to wake it up, you've got to get it moist, and it absorbs water, and then you can crumble it up and you can do whatever you want. Now the problem with doing that is obviously you've already added more moisture to something that had too much moisture in the first place. So what I do is I break up my cocoa fibre into sizable little pieces and flakes, and then I throw that in the bag of the compost and I mix it all together. And then normally I would leave that for 24 hours, and then all of the lumps of cocoa fibre would have absorbed the water out of the potting compost and sucked away most of it. So you've now got a substrate that is much drier, and then all you have to do then is run through it like I am now with your fingers and break up any of the lumps of cocoa fibre that are still there. Now what I'm doing this today, I've only just mixed this stuff through, so it's obviously taken a little longer, but if you left it for 24 hours you'll end up with a perfect blend. It's absolutely lovely. Now in terms of consistency in what we use in volume of each, it really doesn't matter. You know, let's not make this any more technical than it needs to be. We are literally looking at getting our wet potting compost and drying it out with our cocoa fibre, and if that takes more cocoa fibre to dry it out, we use more cocoa fibre. It's that simple. There is none of this 20% of this and 35% of that and 16% of something else. Don't get all confused with all that sort of stuff. It's absolute rubbish. It really is. We are just looking at making something that's viable to use and something that we like and we can use. That is it. It's that simple.
So what is the purpose, the split between using one or the other then? What are the benefits?
Well, we're using the cocoa fibre, like I say, to dry it out. It also adds another compound, so it actually makes it a little bit more fluffy. We can, if we want, if we're doing things like some of our fossorial spiders, we could then add to this, we could put in some topsoil. I don't use topsoil very often because it's very heavy, and when you've got the amount of tanks that I have on a shelf, it can add up to an awful lot of weight. So I don't tend to use topsoil very much, but it does have its place with fossorial spiders because they can bury down in it and it won't collapse. It will hold really well. By mixing this stuff together, this will hold well as well. It will do the same sort of thing. We can also, you know, you go online, you will see all sorts of fancy blends of stuff, even down to the stuff that we buy, retail stuff that we buy. You've got all these fancy blends. Is it really necessary? I personally don't think so. I've been doing this for so many years now, and you know, if you want to go and spend £25 on a little bag of soil like that, be my guest, but it's really a waste of time, waste of money. You can make your own for a fraction of the cost. Absolute fraction. Just have a little look around and see what's available. So we make up our own stuff. We would also mix our beastie mix in with this. The only reason we're not doing that now is because we haven't got any. We just need to go out and collect some. That will give another aspect to it, because you're adding leaves, sticks, mulch, everything is all going in there. It's also adding all of your microorganisms and things like that. So these are all things that are beneficial to our enclosure, especially if we want to grow stuff in there. It works really well. So all these things can all be added, and at the end of the day, it's more about how it looks for you. If it's pleasing to you, then it's going to do the job. You know, it's going to do a nice thing, and providing it's stable enough to give your spider a home, then it's done its job for the spider. So it's really quite simple. It doesn't have to be any more complicated than that. Now this is one of the things I think that new people to the hobby can get very tied up in knots trying to get exactly the right thing. And it's, you know, a lot of it, there is no real right and wrong. It's just not that, you know, that necessary. So back to our Cuban bronze. We are going to put a simple enclosure. Now I've got a piece of bark here. This is quite thin, this piece of cork bark, and as you can see there, it's quite pliable. So what we're going to do we could lay it like that, but it's too big. So what I want to do, I want to try and bend it. What we want to do is try and break the back of it. It's almost gone now. There we go. You can feel it. It's so soft. You see now how we've done that? What we can do, we can bend that. There we go. It's gone. So we can bend that, and now we can literally cover that in. No, it's actually broken now. We can still use it. We've made our hide now for our spider to disappear into. She'll go in through here. We can always add a little bit more to it if we need to. Now then, I've got this piece of wood here. This, as you can see, is absolutely rotten. Look at it. You see this? This is absolutely rotten. It's almost past its sell-by date. It's gone. But there is a lot of living life in this. We've got a slug here. We don't want the slug. We'll take him out.
What living life?
Yeah. We don't want that particular. Look, see, there's isopods there. See these? We've also got some nice little plants here. These are probably weeds, to be fair, but they'll do perfectly fine in our enclosure. We've got more isopods down in here. There's all sorts of stuff. Another slug there. We look him out. We don't want the slugs, you see. There they go. Look at that. So all these little things in here are all beneficial. And again, don't get too wrapped up. You know, here in the UK, there is nothing in here that is going to be of any danger to our spider. So what I'm going to do, we are going to plonk that in there like so. Where it's so rotten, we can push that down. Put that in there. That will give us another barrier there. Also extends that little bit there. Gives it some more to hide. Now we've got some lovely little bits of moss here. We're going to get a bit more substrate. So what we put that down here like that. So what we're doing now, this is all for our benefit. This is just about making it pretty for us to look at. That is all. So just crumple these up. Literally just do that like that. And we can get our moss. Put that in the back. I'm trying to make this like a bit of a natural sort of cave. There you go. See, it's starting to take shape now. It's starting to look a little bit something. And what we're going to do is we are going to put her water bowl down in this end here, so that it's as far away from the entrance to a hideaway as we can possibly get it, and then that way hopefully it won't get full up with web and rubbish and God knows what else. So we're literally going to fill that up there like that. We've got a little bit more moss here that we can play around with. What we got, this moss here, this is exactly the same stuff that's on the piece of timber, so we're going to add that in there, and that will hopefully look like it's growing down from the bit of timber. A bit in there like that. There we go, it's taking shape now.
I like it like that.
You like it like that? We're going to put a little bit more in here. We're just going to put a little bit of water on that, and we're going to use this bit here because we've got a bit of extra stuff here, so it'd be rude not to use it. There we go, look at that. They look lovely, even if I do say so myself.
It is lovely.
Do you like that?
Yeah.
Look at that. There we go. I reckon that'll do.
No more, no more.
No more, no more.
It's nice with a bit of dirt as well. Can't cover them. Just cover all them.
Well, I had that little bit, you see. Right then, so that's that. We got that in. You can see just now how simple it is to actually set these up. It doesn't take that much. Now then, we've got our Cuban bronze female here. Now, I'm just tripping over boxes here. Now then, as I said, these are a New World spider, and they can be very flighty. They can be
flicky,
rather defensive, and yes, downright flicky as well.
Yeah.
So they tend to be more defensive than flicky, I've found, but they are, I've got to say, they are an absolutely beautiful spider. Now this female is in wonderful condition. She is absolutely lovely, and you can see where they get that name, the Cuban Bronze, and you'll see it on that carapace there. It is wonderful. So what we're going to do, we're going to try and get her to open up a little bit. Whoa, you see how she flicked round for that paintbrush then? Look at that, you see what I mean? They are very, very keen to defend themselves should they need to. She's now realised that it's nothing too serious. I was rather hoping you would show us your carapace. I think we're going to have to put her in.
There we go.
There we go. Now look at that. So if we look on here, you can see how they get their name, the Cuban Bronze. Now this is a lovely gold. In the males they go gold all over. They're beautiful. And then look at that colour there. It's almost like a weird sort of like a winey red colour.
Not getting the red.
Don't know if you're getting it in the picture, but it is so pretty. I think if I get a bit of light on her, we can. There we go. I don't know if that's any better. And we come out a bit, and we can see that abdomen, you see that readiness in the abdomen. It's really, really pretty. Now these do get quite large, and they make for quite an impressive spider. So if you want a spider that's out and about a fair bit, these generally do tend to sit out quite a fair bit. Now as you can see the size of her in this box, this is the small bra plier box, and we've used these to grow them on. And she recently molted out, and she's now quite a big girl, so it's definitely time for her to move up, hence why she's going to have this nice new home now. So I think what we'll do is we will move her over and get her into this enclosure.
Did you want me to get a piggy?
Why not?
You stay still.
Oh, here she goes. She's on a little bit of a move.
She just covered her eyes.
Typical. That's it. And we'll try and get a couple of pictures as we go along. Right, let's see if we can't get her in and try and do this without too much upset. So if I turn this way round, you can come round over here, and then what we'll do, as you saw earlier on, she actually came round to the paintbrush, so we have to be a little bit. I'm going to hold this piece of wood here because I don't want that to fall. See how she moves? That's it, there we go. So at the moment she's being very, very well behaved. There you go. Oh, look at that. Is an absolutely beautiful spider. I'm going to come down on the top here. Try and get a lovely picture. That is wonderful. I can try and throw a bit of light on her if you like.
Perfect.
Look at that. Is that not just an amazing looking spider? Now, as we said, these guys come from Cuba. They really are an underrated spider. I mean, look at that. that almost looks, do you know what, that the colouring and the gold and everything there is very much like our gold wafer trapdoor spider, but in a huge
steady
body.
My wafer's got it on her leg.
I mean, look at that. You can see how these are so underrated. We should see more of these in the hobby. Now, these are a spider that we are quite keen to try and breed later on. I think that'd be a lovely spider to breed. I mean, that just rivals some of the better known spiders in terms of looks. And also quite well behaved. So this is a new world. So they are capable of kicking hairs. We don't see a lot of it. We see more defensive behaviour from these. And as you saw when we first opened the box, they're very, very quick to turn and face whatever is upsetting them. You see how she's moving there? As I'm talking, she can feel the sound waves and the air as we're breathing near her. She'll be able to feel that. Isn't she just a picture? Now, she will settle in lovely in this enclosure, and that moss really, really makes her pop. And hopefully you can see a little bit more now about that reddy colour in the abdomen and on the legs. Really, really nice. Look at that. Now, we have quite a few in this genus, the Phormictopus. There's quite a few of them. They're all fairly large spiders. They're all on the sort of bigger side of the tarantulas. And they all make generally easy pets to deal with. They're not difficult in their requirements. That is wonderful. I need to try and get a picture of that. You got a nice picture. Oh. Try and that's so nice. Okay. So there's quite a few of these, and we do see them from time to time, but not enough. We need to see more of these. So that is going to make a really, really lovely addition, and I'm looking forward to actually getting that up on the shelf in the new room. And hopefully in this size enclosure we should be able to breed her in here as well. And the only thing being, if she webs this up, it will be a guessing game as to whether she's actually got a sac or whether she's getting ready to molt. That's the only downside to breeding them in enclosures in this way, is sometimes it's a bit of a guessing game as to what's going on.
You're holding the torch, we're not even there anymore.
She's lovely. I was just enjoying her myself. Just in you know, it's a sight that needs to be seen, isn't it? Right, so that is our Phormictopus. Now, in terms of very, very basic care. Again, they like somewhere dry to hide out, but a little bit of moisture in the soil. So we would verge on around about sort of 60% or so in the soil, and we can do that, remember, by the colour. We can keep it just that slightly off colour, and that will show us that there's enough in the soil. The same as the main thing is with this style enclosure, I wouldn't worry about soaking the soil to add my humidity. I would literally just spray my moss every few days. That would give enough. That would permeate down into the soil, and that would give more than enough for this spider. She will be perfectly happy in that. So don't get too over involved with making sure that your substrate is damp. She will like it dry underneath that piece of log there, and she should be perfectly happy. Now, a spider this size, she will take on all of our food species. So she'll take on full-grown locusts, dubia roaches, anything you want to give it, really, apart from the hissers. Don't go down the hisser route, they're a little bit too big. But everything else, she will mop them up. And what we're looking at is keeping her abdomen about the size that she is now. If she starts getting much bigger than that, we don't want to. Just for a pure maintenance aspect, We don't want to get him much bigger than what she already is. She is absolutely perfect. And she has been a delight to rehouse. Now, I thought she was going to give us a little bit more trouble, but as you can see there, the same policy, we use the same policy with all of our spiders, just nice and gentle, slow and direct. Know what we're going to do before we do it. This is the key. You never want to react with your spider. So by that, I mean, if your spider jumps and you react to try and do something, the chances are you will probably do the wrong thing. So if you fully understand how you want to do stuff and manipulate them, then you can do it by watching them. You get an idea of where they're going to go, what they're going to do. Like we've seen in some of our others, you can see they can see an escape route and they make their way to it, and you can block them just very gently and turn them the other way. Keeping it all smooth and gentle is the key. And she's done really, really well. I'm so pleased to see how this spider progresses through, because it's still got a bit of growing to do. So it's going to be a nice one to keep in contact with and see how she goes. Right.
You've got a little card to show.
Yes, we have. I've got to show you this, guys, because we had one of our subscribers come round a couple of days ago, and a young lady by the name of Mia, her and her dad came round to pick up a Metallica sling that they'd purchased from us. And yes, look what she's got. Look what she brought us. She made us this card. Look at that. Now that is a Samopaeus Minia. A very good one and all. That is really, really cool. Now, they got this Minia from us, I think it was maybe a year ago, last year. And their collection now has grown to, I think they've got a few spiders. I can't actually mention too many, how many. No, because Mum, I don't think Mum knows, so we got to keep it hush-hush, you know. Mum will come round. If you're listening to this, Mum, they're not going to bother you. They're not going to hurt you. They're perfectly fine. Friendly spiders, because we teach them the beastie way, so they're going to be nice and friendly. But look at that. Isn't that a lovely, lovely card? And inside, she's put, "To Dave and Camera Lady, we love your YouTube videos. Can't wait to see the new beastie room." From Mia, age 7. Oh, yes, look. And she's put, "PS, we now have 12 spiders." Isn't that wonderful? Isn't that wonderful? Now, hopefully they're going to be coming along to Brighton, the Brighton show, which is in fact the 24th of this month. So I hope to see as many of you there as possible. We're going to have an absolutely wonderful table. We've got some really cool bits and pieces coming along for Brighton. Brighton is one of our favourite shows. I just love the atmosphere of Brighton. It can be a little busy and a little bit close. You know, the aisles aren't the biggest in the world, but it has got such a lovely feel about it. It's a really, really lovely show. It's been one of my favourites for years. So hopefully we will get to see you all there, and come along, say hello, see what we got. Don't forget, we've also now got all of our 2025 calendars are now in stock. So any of you guys overseas, if you want your calendars, throw me a message on Facebook. We can deal with that now. They are already going out the door, so they proved very, very popular. We've got a good load of them in, so we're going to do them at the shows. There'll be loads at the show to be available for everyone. So if you want Christmas presents for your loved ones, things like that, calendar, what a wonderful way to go. We will also have everything else there as well. All of our merch. We've got a whole new line of merch as well. So we brought out new hoodies, which are zip-up hoodies now. And we've got our logo running down the arm, all sorts. They look really, really smart. And we've managed to keep them at the same price as the other ones. So that's a good thing as well. So hopefully we will see you all there. And if not, if you fancy any of that stuff, just throw me a message on Facebook. We can literally send them worldwide. So nowhere is out of touch.
Except the live.
Pardon?
No live.
No. We can't send livestock abroad, but we can do all the merch. Right then. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. And don't forget, be calm, be gentle, and love your spider. And I'll see you all soon, guys.